So we're back on Tiguan mods again. I'm only going to do a few more things to this car, but one of the biggest complaints that I have with this thing is that it does not have Apple CarPlay. This is the S model, which is the low line one. Let me show you what the radio looks like. So it does have Bluetooth, however, that's about all it does have. I want something that has CarPlay capabilities, and I didn't want to lose any of the features that I've had, like steering wheel controls. This car does have a factory backup camera. So I was looking for a couple solutions. Of course, if you're into Volkswagens, you know the RCD 330, that's a good option. But the problem that I found with that one is it didn't work with the factory backup camera. And I wasn't against going with an aftermarket radio. However, I didn't want to have like the mic hanging down, because usually they come with their own mic, or they'll have a pre-installed mic into the front, or I didn't want to have to wire in another backup camera again. So I looked really hard on the internet, and I came up with this. This company is called Infig. They're based out of New Jersey. Not sponsored by them by any means, but this is the stuff that I bought. I'm going to show you the price of everything and then go through a quick breakdown. So on the first one, I think the first one, the $69 one, is the actual harness. Then you got the steering wheel control programmer. The $19 is a harness that you just plug straight into the back of the radio. And it is already wired for the Pioneer that I bought. And then the radio mounting kit, and of course you can pick the radio like color of it. I think there's regular black, there's matte black, and gloss black. From the videos that I've watched, matte black looks like it's the best. It is $10 more, but I mean, if you're already paying for it. And then this one is the antenna adapter, the mic, which I'll show you that here in a minute. And that bottom one is a USB adapter. So it allows you to keep the factory USB port and the factory location with you just have to switch out the plugs. So I'm gonna go over this mess that I have all laid out, and I'll show you how we're gonna install things. So very first one, I actually had another question on one of our videos about which radio that I used in my Ram. This is it. I got it from Walmart. This is my third one. I had one in my Trailblazer, I have one in my Ram, and this one is now going in my Tiguan. It was $259, and then of course after taxes. I have zero complaints about this one. Obviously, if I hated it, I wouldn't be on my third one. Doesn't really glitch, has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. I have an Apple, so that's the only thing I care about. And it's really good. For the price that you pay, it's really hard to beat. There's no buttons on the front, and USB ports are in the back. I did not want anything that had USB ports in the front, because personally I think they kind of look tacky. So let me get into all the parts now, and then I'm probably going to start with doing the antenna install first. So one of the things that really drew me to this kit was it allowed you to keep all of your factory options, or if it had to upgrade something, it would look almost stock and you wouldn't be able to tell. For me, that's kind of a big deal. I don't want a whole bunch of certain things I do not want looking aftermarket. I want it as stock as possible. For me, a radio is one of those things. If Volkswagen could have come up with something for this car that I didn't have to rewire the camera because of whatever reason, I would have probably went that way. So up first, this is the part number. I'll actually pull it out. This is not the antenna. This is the mic for the radio. So hold on one second. So with this actually goes in the factory location. So what you do is you unhook the other one up in your headliner by your dome light, and you have to run the cable across the headliner, down the pillar, and back through the dash. Because this is a Pioneer, I had to go with a adapter. If your car radio has a 3.5 millimeter jack in the back, this really won't be relevant. However, with Pioneer, I think they're the only company that requires you to get this adapter. I don't remember what the adapter costs, but basically you plug that end into there, and then that plugs into the back of your radio for your mic. Like I said, so what it looks like to me is they actually 3D printed this, and their mic is hid underneath this felt. So like I said, that was to me a big thing because I didn't want a bunch of stuff laying around the car. Up next is, there's the part number. This was $30. So you actually have to disassemble the USB port. And the Tiguan, it's to the right of the gear shifter and the console. And this is also, looks like it is 3D printed, and it snaps right into there, and then the USB port goes into the back of the head unit. Super big fan of this. I mean, I know it's $30 and all it is a cable with a 3D printed end. However, it keeps things looking stock. Up next is, there's the part number. This plugs into their control module, and this goes into the back of the stereo. What this is this is for the steering wheel controls. And like I said, it allows you to keep all of that. So this is, I guess, where their magic happens. This is the quad lock. So this harness will allow you to retain a factory backup camera. This is their module where the steering wheel control plugs into, and then there's the backup camera and everything else that you need in here. So included in here, you'll have to plug this in. And there's a couple wires here, which I'll show you in the instructions harness. So some radios, if you have a DVD player, this does not. You'll need a parking wire. I believe the purple one is for the reverse, and the pink one is, where's it at on here? The pink one is the vehicle speed sensor. That's for the navigation. This also doesn't have navigation. So their instructions are pretty nice. They tell you exactly what to do and then how to program for the steering wheel controls. So they're talking about unplugging this. Up next is the radio harness. This will plug into the new quad lock, and that will, these will plug into the new quad lock. And this one, when you go on their website, they give you a list and they tell you exactly what radios fit, this harness will fit. So this is no more expensive than any other harness. Normally I build the harnesses myself. You get just wires and then you get an aftermarket dash kit. Well, with this, same price as that, and I didn't have to do any work at all. So with this one, you'll still have to plug in the purple wire. That is for an aftermarket amp, which I don't have. You'll have to plug in the ground wire, or the parking wire, I'm sorry. And I believe this one is for a mute, which is not used. So, of course, in their instructions, they tell you all that as well. Up next, and sorry if this video is going to be kind of lengthy, this may help other people as well. So, like I said, for me, I searched high and low because I didn't want to change a whole lot of things. I kind of just wanted something you plugged in and you rolled with it and it had Apple CarPlay. But this here is to keep your factory FM AM. This is an adapter, so this will plug into your radio, that will plug into your current cable, and this wire actually plugs into this part of the harness right here. It goes right next to the yellow wire. And then this is their dash kit. So you'll have to bolt this in. This uses the 4 screws that come factory with it. You'll have to put the cage in there. These go on the side of the radio. And here's the part numbers for all this stuff. And then this is the bezel. Like I said, I went with matte black because for me, at least my Volkswagen, I think this is probably the best way to go. So I'm going to start with installing the mic, wherever that went, right here. I'm going to start with taking the map lights down, or the dome, the map lights. I'm going to unscrew one of the the passenger. I'm probably going to run it down the passenger side. I'm going to unscrew the passenger side visor where it clips into the headliner. And then I'm going to run it down the A-pillar, and at that point I'm going to fish it down through the dash and across. It is kind of late, so I don't know if I'm going to finish this all tonight, but I'm going to try to see what I can get done. So like I said, sorry this is going to be a long video. Feel free to skip around if you'd like, or watch the whole thing if you think this would help you. So start by pulling this panel down here, and right here, this is the factory mic. So you'll have to pull out those 2 screws again, and that whole thing will drop out, and then you just unhook there, and you unhook it from the harness up there, and then you'll have to come back here. See how it has a little panel in the back? This comes down, and then you can kind of fish it across there, and I'm probably going to try to pop that pillar off without breaking any clips. And then I'm going to run it down through the side here, and through the dash, and hopefully I can fish it across there, and once I remove the radio I'll be able to pull it out. So let me start by pulling that down, and we'll see how far I can get. Sorry it's dark in here, but I had to turn them off so I could see it. So there is the factory harness that you'll unplug right there. It goes to right there, and that is where the aftermarket speaker is going to sit. So it is still literally going to be utilized, the same hole, same mounting bracket, everything. It's just going to go to your new aftermarket radio. So I'm going to fish that. I just wanted to show that part. I'll probably, the next thing you'll see is me probably pulling the middle part of the dash out where the radio is. But I at least wanted to show you that part for now, because if it's unclear of where this goes. This, like I said, this is why I was a big fan of this kit, because hopefully with any luck it's going to look and sound and function as a stock vehicle. So we're now finished up there. I installed the mic. Like I said, you can't even tell. I ran the wire across there. It was a little tougher. I actually removed the visor and all. I was trying not to destroy the headliner, but I ran it down the pillar, and I'll have to tuck it in behind the dash. But I'm going to show you what the back of this head unit looks like and everything that does need removed. And then I'm going to work on getting the rest of that mic fished over through the dash here if I can. I'm going to probably use a coat hanger like I did for the footwell lighting. So let me get this out. I did try to look in the glove box. There is no code for this, so if worse comes to worse and I ever want to go back to stock, I'm probably going to have to call the dealership for this code. But that's not the end of the world. I think you can also buy them online, but I'm stuck with this vehicle for a little bit, so I'm not real worried about that. When the time comes, I'll have to handle it. Okay, so we're to this point. So I installed part 1 of their radio kit. You still have to put the metal cage in there, but I did plug this back in because I'm going to test the radio here in a minute. And if this is unplugged, it will throw an airbag light. So what you have here is the quad lock. This is the radio, and I believe this is for the USB port that's down there. This will no longer be used, so it's not the end of the world. It can stay in there. And of course this is, I'll have to zip tie this up and tuck it away so it's nice and neat, but this is for the mic. So far, I really like this kit. I'll let you know about how it fits in the dash. The only thing I wish that they would have done, would have saved you a little bit of time, it would have really made it plug and play, is the mic. Not saying that they didn't do a great job of what they did with it, but if they can make everything else plug and play, I don't see why the mic would have been an issue, even if it required like an extra adapter. But I won't gig them for that. So far, like I said, I really like this kit. I'm going to go ahead and finish putting the metal cage in there. So once it slides in there, there's tabs all around it that you got to push out. And then I'm going to hook up their harness and follow the instructions, and we'll see if everything's working. Okay, so this is everything connected. Like I said, this cable goes to the steering wheel control. This is on this one, the rear view camera, which is over here. I'll have to plug that still in. Parking cable, reverse is hooked up. Both of these are hooked up. This still needs plugged into the back of the head unit. And then this will go in the quad lock inside of the car. And of course, this is this also goes in the back of the head unit, but that will go to the antenna that's actually in the car. I still haven't put the cage in yet, and I'll still have to use this adapter for the mic. And then this, I'm probably not going to do this tonight. I just want to make sure it works because it is almost midnight. And that will go in obviously right there. And then I'll have to run it down to the middle console and pull that apart. I believe you pull up on the shifter boot or use a pry, like a plastic pry tool for the interior. And then once that pops up, lift the cover around the shifter. And there's two more T20s there. And then lift up and pull towards you and the whole console will come out. So with everything being apart right now, it would be the easiest time to do that. But with it being as late as it is, I might finish it up in the morning. But for tonight, I at least want to make sure that everything is plugged in and working, and then I will finish up the install tomorrow. Okay, like I said, this is just temporary. There's a mess everywhere. I still don't have the cage in there. And like I said, make sure that's in if you're going to test it. I don't have a lot of this hooked up. I just wanted to test this to make sure that everything is working. So push the start vehicle. I'm not going to start it. So far, so good. Turns on. Let me shut the door so it stops. Okay, and then I make sure the camera function is on, which it is on. Car is going into reverse. Cool. So that part works. And then let me test volume work so far. I'm really not going to be able to test this because I'm taking a video of it. I do want to show you steering wheel controls work. I'm not too worried about FM AM radio. I'm positive it will work, but I am going to test one other thing, which I did hook up their USB cable, and off camera I'm going to make sure that Apple CarPlay works. So like I said, I'm probably going to finish this up for tonight. I'm going to unhook what I did install as far as like the quad lock and all that. I might put the cage in there, and then for tonight I'm done. It's 11:11, so I'm tired and I've been up since 4:45. So far, not a bad install. I will say this, I forgot to install this the first go around when I did test it. So I kept coming up with a no camera available. So other than that, let me finish with this. It looks like this should turn off when the doors. So everything seems to work like factory. So far, I'm super impressed. The camera's a lot bigger, obviously, than what I had. And most important is Apple CarPlay. So okay, so it's early the next morning. So far, I've put the cage in. And I pop that out of the shifter trim. And then once that pops out, you just lift up on this. There's one plug there, which goes in there. It's for the lights that are in there. I'm going to put the car in neutral. And then, put the car in neutral. And then, I don't know if the car, nope, will not turn off. There we go. So there's two screws that are down in there, and then you lift up on this and this whole piece pops out. So now the only thing I got to try to do is I'm going to leave this wire here for the factory USB port, and I'm going to fish the new one down through there. I don't want to, in case this ever goes back to stock, I don't want to have to fish that back up through there. So let me try to get that done, and I'll show you how this connector comes apart for the USB. Sorry for the really bad lighting, but I thought I'd show you this part. Be very careful with that little piece of plastic. When I was trying to lift the plastic up to get the tab, that's where this adapter for the USB port goes. So on the front, it literally, let me grab a light because it's really bad. You literally can't even tell that anything's been done to it. So I'm going to fish it up through the dash, up through there, and then it will be time to put the, actually I'm going to put the console back together first, and then I'm going to put the tabs on the side of the radio, and that way I can hook everything up, and then I'm going to test fit it to make sure it fits in there. The rest is pretty much easy now. That was the hard part. Okay, so for me, I used on the clips, I'm going to actually pull this back out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I used spot 7 and 9. I actually watched a Jetta video, which is probably about as close as you're going to get for a Tiguan. The only thing is you could slightly see some of the, I don't quite like the gap. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out and pop the cover off of it and probably go with 8 and 10. I will say this kit is very, very snug. The reason I pulled it out of the dash is because I had trouble getting the side clips in, mounted in there. I actually kind of had to use a flat screwdriver to pry it into place. So once this radio's in there, it's definitely not going anywhere. But let me pull this cover off and I'll show you. But for me, like I said, I went with matte black because I think it matches really well. I did call, I think his name's Christian. He didn't really point me in one direction. He just kind of told me to watch a video. So at least for the Jetta, I thought it would be a close match if I went with the matte black. So I'm actually pretty happy with it. It looks like it matches around the radio and like around the push button. So let me pop this cover off. I'll show you what I'm talking about when I say like 7 and 9 and 8 and 10. And then honestly, it's ready to install for the last time. I can finally get all this mess cleaned up. So this is what I'm talking about, the side clips. As you can tell, there's little, see the copper pieces that are sticking up? Basically, that is used as a depth guide, so both sides are even. And right now, it is on 7 and 9. I'm going to move it up one more, and I think it'll be perfect at that point. Actually, I'm so sure I'm just going to go ahead and install everything because it's that good. I will say this is hands down the best aftermarket radio dash kit that I've ever seen, and harnesses. I did have probably $150 in this though, but I will say I don't know the quality of the mic that I installed into the headliner so far, but everything else I have zero complaints about. I will say this, the dash kit, at least with the metal cage where this goes into, it is a little snugger than I want, but there's a pros to that. It won't move and it's not going to feel cheap. So so far I give it 10 out of 10. I have zero complaints about it, and he was able to do everything that I wanted to do without having a bunch of extra stuff hanging around. So I actually had to pull it out one last time. I pulled it out 3 times to adjust it. I actually went with Mark 6 and 9, or 6 and 8, I apologize. So for me, it is completely flush. I don't think it's going to get any better than that. So obviously hook everything up. This is for the antenna. This is for the mic. And that goes back here. Rear view camera's hooked up, USB's hooked up, and the main power source. So because I unplugged this, I know in the instructions it said to unhook the 14 pin from this module over here. And I'm going to turn the car on and unhook it one more time. It should be programmed for this radio, but I don't want to have any issues. Test everything, put it back together, and once the faceplate is back on, I will show you what I'll show you what it looks like after I get the fingerprints off and move the car out into the daylight. So I just wanted to show everything was working. This is the FM part of it. Steering wheel controls work. I can't show you because I'm on my phone. USB works, Bluetooth works. I did change the backlighting to red. I'm not sure how good it's going to match, but that's okay to be close enough. The only thing I did notice was when, at least in Apple CarPlay, I don't know about the radio. Wait till it seeks something. It's probably going to not get really good reception since I'm in the garage. But while that's looking, there we go. I did notice while in the dash, it used to show what I was listening to through the Bluetooth, and now it just says active. That's not a big deal for me because usually mine is set to that. Usually just shows the miles per hour. So for me, I don't really care, and it has a touchscreen anyway. Like I said, let me finish this up. I'll put the faceplate back on. Everything's done. Clean my tools up, and then I'll pull it out into the daylight and show you what it looks like. So this is what I'm left with. Of course, the radio, I don't know what model this is, but This is the factory mic, and this would be the factory USB port that I pulled out. I'm going to keep all this stuff. When the car gets traded in, I'll throw it back in and take the radio out. Let me show you what it looks like on the outside. I will say, at least sitting in the garage with the doors shut with the tent, I don't know if the red on the radio is going to quite match the red inside of the car, but it will be close enough. Every vehicle I've installed that radio in has green interior lights, so you can't really tell. But I'll find out tonight and see how good it is. But let me show you what it looks like all finished up. I have zero complaints about it. For me, the longest part was installing the microphone up into the headliner. Not that it's a hard job by any means, but I was trying to be careful not to tear the headliner, not to bend it or crease it, or even tear the fabric. So for me, that was the longest part of it. But let me show you the backup camera. Let me show you everything works one last time. And so far, I give this whole kit, especially for the price that I paid, it's 10 out of 10. I can't ask for a better fitting dash kit. So this is the last video of it installed. Everything fits good. The only thing is, they do make a shallow mounting kit, which I was kind of curious to see if that would have made a difference. Not that this looks bad by any means, but just curious to see how the fit would be compared to this. But like I said, factory backup camera still works, and it's really crisp. I did turn the lines off because I think if you leave them on, oh no, it doesn't. But I turned them off anyway because you don't need two sets of lines. So put it back in park. Radio and everything still works. Steering wheel controls work. Those are just presets. I don't think there's anything on there. So, like I said, the only thing that doesn't work is that, which I don't care about that part. It's never on there. So, thanks for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe, comment in the section below if you have any questions about this. Again, I know this year Volkswagen is really hated on for some reason. So there's not a whole bunch out there. So if you have any questions about any of the install or how the fitment, just go ahead and message me or my brother.